Alright guys, TacticalRab back again today. Hope you're all doing well and enjoying your day so far. Welcome back to the coverage of the Kickoff Classic and loads to dive into today. Los Angeles Thieves took down Paris last night to set up a very exciting battle with OpTic coming up later today, but also Clayster and Asim discussing some of the issues they had to deal with in the first LAN event of the season. Very much enjoying your thoughts in the comment section below. If you enjoyed the video, hitting the like button is the best thing you can do. Top of the channel recently people, please do subscribe as well if you haven't yet already. First of all, this from Crone. Of course, we looked at some of these hash flags, as they call them, a few days ago that went live. The OpTic one was kind of squished. Now it's sorted all out. Now, well, two more teams come into a business. I'm pretty sure Boston is not yet a thing either, so I guess they'll work on that one. But yeah, players one, Rokkr. Paris have got this no flurs given type thing. I'm not really sure who came up with that, but still, On Guard's back in business. And of course, they were coming up in a matchup. We'll have to look at it in a second. Just wanted to make a quick correction. I did say this in the pinned comment of yesterday's video, but I believed that the kind of the drop in map 3 was due to this issue in control where the game could just crash for no reason. It was actually deliberately ended because there was a TeamSpeak issue that the entire server dropped for. So, you know, just one of these things that happened. So this time, I was maybe slightly premature to blame the game. On this occasion, it wasn't actually the game's fault. But we might see something like that over the coming days where a control map just ends for no reason because the game is broken right now. But maybe they found a way to fix it in some of the settings. Who knows, like, what exactly causes that. But yeah, still, that was the reason why they had to play the restarts. Boston, of course, had some advantage in that final rounds. And, of course, New York still had the defense. They should theoretically might have been able to close it out. But it was still a controversial thing regardless. Thankfully, this tournament didn't really mean all that much. Entertaining series nonetheless. Wanted to just mention this real quick because supposedly, we talked about this a couple of days ago, could it be possible when Microsoft come in to actually take over Call of Duty from Activision that they actually consider, okay, look, do we actually continue with these yearly releases? Now, apparently there is a discussion going on, even right now within the Activision executive team, about stopping the annual releases. Now, look, is that a good thing? Is that a bad thing? I'm not really sure. Like, of course, we like it in a way. There's a new COD every year, keeps things fresh and interesting, but you know, it has meant the last few years certainly the developers haven't got the resources they needed. The quality of the games has gone down, so I guess we'll just have to see how things go. But Vanguard has certainly not been particularly healthy on that front. I'm sure Modern Warfare 2 or whatever will come out this year. With the Trek game comes out immediately after that, I suppose that does remain to be seen. This also from Adam Apicella, just because yesterday the games did run rather late. Today I imagine that's probably going to happen again, especially because OpTic versus Thieves is the last one that I'll need to stay up for. But this is one of the big concerns that I had last year in the CDL, and to be fair, yesterday to some degree as well, that, you know, for whatever reason, the games just don't start on time, and he reckons, like, starting matches on time is a priority, so they're going to do their best on that front. So good to see some transparency and some communication on this one. Let's talk the Paris series. Firstly, Apox is actually joining them as well in their coaching staff, so incredible that Paris are actually dishing some more money out to bring someone else onto the team. So pretty cool to see. Definitely a lot of these organizations right now trying to expand, well, the staff they have behind the scenes to make their team do the best they possibly can. But yeah, didn't really work out for them against LA Thieves last night. This I thought was kind of funny, really. I'm pretty sure it was a Gather 2 map 1 hardpoint. And well, as Kenny says, first map of the series, my game somehow ended up in borderless and 70 render resolution. May have to tip my own composure to that map because my game looked like World of Warcraft. So I thought it was kind of funny. Clearly some issues on LAN and on these stations that they're playing with for the first time. Good this stuff is going to get ironed out from the kickoff as opposed to the actual first event of the season. That's why it's good to have stuff like this. It just, you know, I'm sure we wish this happened back in November, December, rather than towards the end of January now. Game 2, we then get the snipes come into play. This, honestly, Desert Siege, don't get me wrong, when this was played in hardpoint at the start of the game, it was atrocious. But in Search and Destroy, I actually don't think it looks too bad. This is a lovely shot here from Octane as well with the sniper. So, yeah, definitely the people were trying to top the sniper rankings on the day. That's the thing, like, some of the greatest highlights of the day were with the sniper in hand. And I really didn't feel like it was too overpowered because John pulled it out on the other team and was, you know, going back and forth with Octane as well. So that was kind of how to counter the sniper. Pull out your own one, right? Like, how hard could it really be to make snipers reasonable in the game? And LA Thieves end up closing out this series 3-1. Paris took the control, but again, Thieves closes out on a Tuscan hardpoint. I mean, the slaying was just pretty dominant, honestly, for the Thieves guys right here, and that was enough to get it done. I mean, Envoy with the pistol. That's the thing, like, people say, like, the snipers are really good, but if anything, the pistol's actually ridiculously strong as well. Maybe that's one of the reasons why they say the sniper's good, because people have a pistol as a secondary, and the rat is like, I don't know, probably all the pistols are really strong. Tough to say exactly, but LA Thieves win the series 3-1. Of course, like, kind of what we wanted to see, frankly, because it does set up a very nice matchup here with OpTic coming up later today. So yes, Kenny, he was dominating this whole series, really. He had a 1.18 on the hard points, like in the Search and Destroy as well. He was dominating, especially that game 2 was pretty ridiculous. He went 9-2 on the Desert Siege. Like, this guy was fine. And well, on the control, it was Envoy with a 1.15 as well, despite the fact they did not win the map. It was kind of a strange Gather 2, to be honest, because it doesn't matter how much you flank and try and get behind them, they just keep spawning in the back there. So not really sure how you're meant to actually win that one on offense. Some teams did manage to do it though. So I guess we'll see how the meta develops and maybe some new maps potentially potentially come into play. But as Octane says, PS, sniping is lit, right? So he's happy that sniping's back in business. I think obviously the community massively is in favor of it. But yeah, some of the pros obviously not convinced. Pretty much all the teams voted for it out, and now it's back in business. Obviously the pros, I'm sure guys like Octane are relatively liking it. Now, as I say, I didn't really see an incredible amount of evidence that it's way too overpowered. I don't really see anything that we haven't seen back in the day, like especially Modern Warfare, right? It was very similar, if not even less sniper kills we saw yesterday than we would do in Modern Warfare. Some maps people weren't even pulling it out. Like it's so fast paced, some of the search and destroy, that in certain situations the sniper gets kind of caught off guard, where they're setting up. So I thought it was interesting, and as Envoy says, GG's Paris 131, play OpTic tomorrow. That of course is very spicy indeed. Envoy up against the OpTic guys. How's that going to go? Is the revenge talk going to be complete from Envoy early on, or OpTic just going to completely shut them down? Because we saw a lot really yesterday, like a lot of teams that were meant to be pretty good in scrims, meant to be pretty not good in scrims, the likes of Florida, for example, they really turned up yesterday. So definitely very difficult to predict really how things are going to go on LAN. This also the snipe counter of the day. Clay had 5, John and Octane with 3, 0 with 2, and Simp of course with 1. And yeah, thank you guys for saving content for the fellas. Hope we broke 1 million views because of it. So yeah, they're kind of, I guess maybe the pros and JCap joking around the fact that yeah, snipers doesn't just create 1 million views, but it just creates for a much more positive viewing experience. And surely at the end of the day, that's kind of the point of like sport and entertainment in general, that fans are actually entertained, right? Without the attention, you are not existent. So I think the pros generally understand that, but still I think some people like see this stuff and think, hang on a second lads, come on, it was a good time, was it not, watching the snipers in action yesterday? This also from Clayster, glad we are having this kickoff event. Different patches on stage, backstage, that's what Slasher was talking about yesterday, that you're playing on a new game with a glide bomb stuff on main stage than you are on the LAN environment or the online environment behind the stage. Audio issues, network issues, like of course there were a load of audio issues that went in before that, before the start of their series that they played up against Boston. The optimal place to test all this stuff, of course. Glad we have Esports engine on the case, which is of course pretty cool. And as Asim says, if only people knew what we were going through this event, whether he means the pros in general, right, with the stuff that Clayster's describing, or whether he means LAG specifically in their series, which not all that much has been talked about, I guess that's difficult to say. But as Clay says, that's why I could tweet it, because I won. If your team did, like, it's a lot of excuses, right? If you tweet about stuff because you lost, therefore it's an excuses thing. Whereas if you tweet about the issues because you won, then people actually deal it with respect, right? Which I guess is a fair way to look at things. The noise we were hearing is 100% the reason I have a migraine right now. So I guess there was some sort of audio problem that was causing Clayster grief before the series even began, and maybe it continued when the series finally did kick off. So interesting stuff, no doubt. And well, this also I thought was kind of funny, right? Because our season Simp, obviously on FaZe, they are finally in action today up against the Seattle Surge. That is, if anything, probably the most difficult second round matchup that any team has. And as Arcitys says right here, thanks, like, look at this guy go. Simp's honestly on a mad one lately. Like, this guy's just running everyone up. He's firing off against this guy, and then classic Stan comes back, Simp's father. Diego Ojo, unfortunately, your idol is in challenges, screw you too. So pretty funny, really. But, still, classic was a part of that Seattle team that took down FaZe at that Stage 5 major. Of course, right now in challenges, not on at, Paris or Seattle anymore as he was last year. So, yeah, obviously not ideal, but, maybe Seattle can still get the better of Simp, even without the classic force on LAN within the team. These are the new OpTic jerseys, it seems. I thought these were kind of nice, to be honest. They were obviously getting ready yesterday. There was another clip of those guys out at dinner, and it's pretty funny, like, all of them had their phones out watching the game at exactly the same time. So, definitely, good to see everyone getting involved. But yeah, the OpTic guys are, of course, going to get in business today. And as Formal says, deal at that being Envoy against the OpTic guys. Let's see what he's made of, right? Can he deal with the OpTic wrecking crew that might well come through? Because a lot of people say, especially Temp we looked at a few days ago, he reckons that actually OpTic, if anything, might be the scariest team right now. FaZe on paper, they've got to be number one. You can't look past them, but they've been looking great in scrims, plus what they did in the previous couple of years, last year especially. But OpTic, at least in their scrim results, have been looking really good. Rambo said their search and destroy is impeccable as well, and that might be a key, right? Of course, the sniper battle, Octane's going to be there on LA Thieves. You got Dashy, Illy, whoever's going to pull it out on the other side. That already brings some very entertaining potential before things have even kicked off. So definitely excited to see it. Yeah, Formal seems to be relatively excited to see it as well. This also from Clayster I thought was kind of funny, right? Because, yeah, he's definitely had some back and forth with, crowd members before. I think last year, you guys might remember, maybe it was Stage 4, that there was like a cameraman or something, like talking trash or something, and he gave the middle finger to him. So just phenomenal stuff. And, yeah, right here, someone says to retire, and then, Clayster pops back, as of course you can see. So, yeah, this guy isn't slowing down anytime soon. But let's talk about the games that are coming up today. So these are all winners round 2 matchups now. Of course, it's probably pointless saying winners because there's no losers bracket here. So these are just round 2 matches. 4 teams, of course, are gone. Los Angeles Guerrillas, Boston Breach, London Royal Ravens, and the Paris Legion. And, these are the 4 games of today. So Paris versus Surge, I'll bring this up on the big screen actually, is first up. And this is a really interesting one, right? Because how are FaZe going to deal with Surge. Like, Surge looked really good yesterday. People say they're very talented. Of course, they are talented, and it seems like they're putting it together. So, of course, they might have some momentum rights coming off yesterday's series. Most people would say, okay, probably FaZe win this 3-1, but still, it's going to be really exciting to see. I think Surge can push them the distance. If you had to make a hot take of the day, Surge beating FaZe wouldn't be out of the realms of possibility. Then you've got Ultra versus Mutineers second up. That's an interesting one. How good are Toronto looking? Nobody really knows right now. Most people would say they might just have the favour over Mutineers, but Florida looked fantastic yesterday, so tough one to call. I might give it to Toronto in a 3-2 or something. Then you've got Rokkr versus New York. Personally, I think the New York will continue their momentum from yesterday and take down Rokkr, but yeah, one of those teams that is really tough to predict. Good on land, good search and destroy. Those are some questions up in the air, so exciting series. And then, of course, the marquee matchup, and like, well, it's meant to be starting at 1:30 here in the UK. More than likely, it'll be further back than that, is OpTic versus Los Angeles Thieves. And yeah, hopefully this is going to be a banger. There is kind of a part of me that just says that OpTic will come up with a vengeance here and just completely dominate Thieves, even though it's not really them that have to bring the vengeance. It's meant to be Envoy and the Thieves guys, but often in these kind of grudge match series, OpTic does a pretty good job of just shutting down the opposition. But of course, a very new roster this year. Finally get to see them on LAN. Definitely a banging series to end out the day. And well, the way this works into the next round is that 1 and 3 will play each other. So the winner of FaZe and Surge and Rokkr and Subliners play each other in the semis, and then the other teams play each other as well on the other side of things. But very much intrigued to your thoughts and all this stuff in the comment section below. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did enjoy it, hit in the like button. Tell us the YouTube gods this is a good video, and I'd like you should see it as well. And I've grown the competitive Call of Duty community. Thank you for watching as always. Take care, and I will see you next time.